Namaste friends, my name is Amit Garg. Welcome to my channel Ganesha-Hanuman.com. So I'm bringing you bite-sized recommendations, small, very practical tips for day-to-day life based on the transits of the planets, based on things happening in the skies. And so a lot of videos are related to each other, actually. For example, today we'll talk about the transit of Venus in Leo. And that's going to take place from October 1st through November 2nd. But it's very, very intimately connected with the solar eclipse happening. I'll explain why. So I have a different video on solar eclipse. So I highly recommend please watch that before you watch this video, because solar eclipse is important, and we'll see why it's super important for the Venus transit in Leo. So do keep an eye for other videos. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, please select the all notifications as the bell icon so you don't miss any videos. I also do readings, consultations, and I'm starting a course on Jyotish on November 1st. If you're interested, you can actually get all the information on everything I do here. You can scan this QR code on my left, on the right of your screen. That'll give you all the information. So let's get started. So this is about Venus's transit in the sign of Leo from October 1st through November 2nd. Very important. We'll talk about all the rising signs, all the 12 rising signs. First of all, so this is a video on transit, right? So transits are what? Transits are timing tools, meaning they tell us specifically when a particular thing might happen, right? So there is general guidelines for everybody, but also first you have to look at the natal chart also, because if we say, let's say Venus in Leo will do this for Aries rising, but first the natal chart has to promise that, right? So it's not like written in the, so it's not guaranteed what we say in the transit predictions. You have to always look at the natal chart, but nevertheless there are some general guidelines that everybody can follow. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So how do we analyze Venus transit in Leo? As I always say, there is a three-step process for basic fundamental analysis. Three steps are: look at the planet, the Venus, look at the sign, the Leo, and look at the house that they're going through. That depends on your rising sign, right? So first of all, Venus in Leo. See, Venus in Leo, the planet is like a person, and the sign, it's like the environment, okay? Leo is ruled by who? Leo is ruled by Sun, and Venus and Sun are actually enemies. Venus is the Shukracharya, the guru of the demons, right? But Sun is the, Sun is the king of the solar system, basically. So they're actually enemies. So in the chart, we see whenever they're together, there might be some issues. So we interpret that way. And then secondly, Venus is a nice, gentle, loving, watery planet, whereas Leo is a fire sign. So they're not, water and fire do not go well together, right? So you have to see if the planet is well placed in a sign, or if it's afflicted. Afflicted means harsh energies around that planet, either through other planets, conjunction aspects, or the sign itself, or how the lord of the sign is doing, right? So that's so lord of the sign in this case is Sun, right? So we call that as dispositor. So we say in Jyotish terminology, we say the dispositor of Venus is Sun. That means, so I'll give an analogy. So let's say you're visiting somebody's house, right? Or let's say you're renting a house. You're living in that house as a renter. That's your temporary stay, right? It's not your house, but the owner of the house, how the owner is doing, if he's well off, if he's a good guy, how the owner is, that directly impacts you. So if the owner is not doing well, that means your stay in that house may not be that great. So what's happening right now, first of all, the owner, so here the owner is the Sun. Sun currently is in the sign of Virgo, and it's with Mercury, actually, so exalted Mercury, right? So for the first half of the month through 16th of October, Sun is with exalted Mercury. That's great, awesome. So that makes Sun more powerful, right? But at the same time, there's going to be an eclipse on October 14th, okay? That's going to be a solar eclipse. It's a big one. So they're both Sun and Moon. So the solar eclipse takes place on a new moon. So that means Sun and Moon together will be exactly at the same point, and they'll be moving towards Ketu. So Ketu is going to eclipse the Sun. So the dispositor of Venus, which is the Lord of Leo, that is Sun, is going to go through an eclipse. So that means Venus, the transit of Venus in Leo is going to be compromised. It's not going to be super, super great. So there are, good things in general, but got to be very cautious because there might be some fear. There might be some illusion around the house that Venus is transiting in your chart, okay? And there might be some expenses, especially. Venus is luxury, Venus is money, banking, all of that. Now, Venus is also going to be in trines to Rahu and Jupiter. So the Rahu and Jupiter, again, they expand everything, exaggerate, right? So be careful of expenses, be careful of not showing off things, right? So Venus in Leo in general is like, like royalty, like extreme creativity, interest in luxurious items, right? Showing off your wealth, showing off your whatever house it's transiting in, showing off that family member or that area of life. But then Venus in Leo also may give you issues in relationships. Very, very careful about ego. There might be ego issues. It's transiting through a fire sign, right? Especially Leo. So that you might see a lot of passion, going on. And people may feel the need for attention, need for appreciation, need for recognition. Venus in Leo, okay, is the Asura, the Shukracharya, the guru of the Asuras, right? He has a lot of ego. And so you may also see like a lot of high-class drama, like, in Hollywood, there might be some stories, things like that. A lot of style, fashion, confidence, all of that. So that's in general Venus in Leo, especially with Sun going through an eclipse for the by October 14th. But after October 17th, Sun will actually transition to Libra, which is its sign of debilitation. Okay, so the second half of the month, Sun, which is the dispositor of Venus, is not strong anyway. So throughout this month, Venus is going through a sign whose Lord is not very powerful. Okay, so in any case, so these some of the remedies. Keep your ego in check. Very, very important for relationships. Okay, keep your expenses in check. Venus in Leo, you may want to show off and spend on things that you don't need. Okay, but good thing is, a lot of good things you can do is focus on creativity, extreme creativity, Venus in Leo, and then also bhakti, bhakti, devotion, Shakti, the worshipping the feminine goddess, all of the Shakti mantras. So all of those bhakti with your soul. The Leo is Sun, right? Sun is our soul, and Venus is bhakti. So those are some of the things we can do, all of us. So let's start one by one from Aries rising, and we'll see how this transit is going to be for all the 12 rising signs. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So here we are. So we are talking about Venus in Leo, and this is for Aries rising. So you see the chart here. This is number one sign, Aries rising. And so Venus in Leo with Aries rising, that's going to be the second Lord and the seventh Lord sitting in the fifth house. Second Lord because it's Taurus, and seventh Lord, it's Libra. So Venus rules Taurus, Venus rules Libra. It's sitting in the fifth house, Leo, right? So that may mean, so second house is our family. Seventh house is, of course, our spouse, relationships, partnerships. And then fifth house is children. So basically, it's bringing all of these together, your family, your spouse, your children. And best thing is to create something that is fifth house, to create something as a family with your spouse, with your children, with your family. Okay. And one big thing about fifth house is mantras. So all of you as a family can chant mantras, right? Do some bhakti yoga. you can do some arts projects, any Venusian things, art, dance, music, cooking, gourmet food, prepare nice, wonderful gourmet meals as a family with your children, with your spouse, with your partners. Okay. Be careful with any romantic relationships because there may be a lot of ego issues, and especially because the dispositor is going through eclipse. So there might be like illusion or some hidden things, right? Some changes happening, transformation. So anyway, so that's one big caution. And try not to have any ego or pride, and try not to show off anything related to your children, especially the fifth house, or even family or your spouse. So that's Aries rising, Venus in Leo for Aries rising. Let's go to the next one, Taurus. So this is Taurus rising, number 2 sign. And in this case, of course, Venus is the Lagna Lord. Venus rules Taurus, and Venus is the 6th Lord. So Lagna Lord and 6th Lord, which is Libra. Lagna Lord and 6th Lord sitting in the 4th house. So Venus is sitting in the 4th house, Leo. See, Taurus rising, in general, Taurus rising people could be their own worst enemies. Why I say that? Because it's Venus rules the Lagna Lord, is the Lagna Lord, that's yourself. And 6th house is your enemies, which is the same planet. So it's just you just need to get out of your own way. In your mind, in your head, always say positive things. Never say negative things about yourself. That's in general for Taurus rising. Doesn't matter what transit, what period. If you're Taurus rising, make sure you're always talking positive about yourself, positive thinking, positive intentions. Okay. But other than that, so essentially there is focus on your 4th house, which is your home, your mother. Okay. So you could do some art, painting, drawing, dancing, anything, any creative work with your mother or in your home, of course. Or also you may have this urge to like buy luxurious vehicles or buy maybe a very expensive home or do lots of like interior decoration that's very expensive. But be very careful not to do all of that because it's the eclipse happening, which is the dispositor. Sun and Mercury, Sun and Moon, actually, they're going to go through eclipse with Ketu, and Sun is the ruler of the Leo, the sign that Venus is sitting in. So that's one big caution. And also be careful who you bring home, because Venus is the ruler of the 6th house that may represent enemies. So you don't want to bring your enemies home. And that may be like not just physical enemies, like, like your Shadripus, your 6 weaknesses. That's Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mat, Matsar. Those are the 6 Shadripus, our weaknesses, anger, lust, all of that. So don't bring those home. Meaning, just get rid of them. Don't carry them with you everywhere. Okay. And one final caution is do not try to show off your luxury, your expensive home, your expensive vehicles. That's very, very important. So that's Venus in Leo for Taurus rising. Next one, Gemini rising. That's number 3 sign. So for Gemini, Venus is what? 5th house ruler and the 12th house ruler. 5th house is Libra, 12th house is Taurus. So that's 2 houses that Venus rules. It is sitting in the 3rd house. Okay, so number 5 is Leo. So this for Gemini, Venus and Mercury, they are kind of neutral to each other. So it's and it's sitting in the 3rd house. See, Venus in 3rd house, develop some fine skills, especially with your siblings, maybe together, maybe enroll in a class together as siblings. And you may, so Venus is sitting in a royal sign, so you may actually get very high class or royal, like, fine neighbors. You may find some wonderful, fine, close friends. Okay. And here 5th Lord is in the 3rd house. So that means children and siblings. So those are connected. So you may do things with your children, with your siblings together. And you may actually do a lot of errands, like short distance travels. But very, very good placement to develop creativity, to develop your skills. Okay. Now, 12th Lord Venus is also 12th lord, right? So it's sitting in the third house. What does that mean? Foreign skills, learn something that is foreign, maybe foreign language, foreign subject. Like, if you're born in the US, then maybe pick up Ayurveda, yoga, Jyotish, anything like that. You may have a tendency to spend a lot of money on your siblings. So a little bit of that is fine as a remedy, but try not to overdo that. So that's one area of expenses you need to be careful about. And also, finally, try not to have any ego issues with your siblings. And also do not show off anything to do with your siblings, with your skills. And, with Venus there, you may have that tendency. Okay, so that's Venus in Leo for Gemini rising. Next is Cancer rising. For Cancer, Venus is the fourth lord, which is Libra, fourth lord, and the 11th lord, which is Taurus. So the fourth lord and the 11th lord is sitting in the second house here. That's Leo, right? So first of all, Venus is the enemy of the Lagna lord. Lagna lord is Moon, right? So Lagna is Cancer, the rising sign is Cancer, and the ruler of Cancer is Moon. So Venus is actually enemy of the Lagna lord. So not a very good planet for Cancer rising anyway. Now, in terms of things that you can do, wonderful time to sort of create things with your mother, with your family, because fourth house is involved and second house is involved, and it's the planet Venus we're talking about. So creating some creativity, creative tasks, activities with your mother, with your family. So, and spend some quality time with your family, with your mother, because Cancer is a homebody. Cancer is like a mother, very protective, and they love spending time with their family. Okay, the symbol is a crab, right? So and they always travel in groups, right? So spend some quality time with your family and with your mother, extended family, and also we have this 11th lord sitting in the second house, right? So 11th lord in the second house, wonderful combination for money, wealth, banking, luxury, all of that. So you can do things to manage your family wealth. Okay, so like do some things to take care of the wealth, to grow the family wealth. So good combination for money. You may see finances look good for you. So you may make some decisions during this period that will actually help you financially in the long run. Okay, but again, be very careful. Do not show off your family wealth. Do not have any ego issues with your family. Okay, very, very important. And with your mother as well, because the fourth lord, and with your friends, that's the 11th lord. So that's Venus in Leo with Cancer rising. Next one, Leo rising. Leo is number 5 sign, and of course Venus is sitting in the first house, Leo. Venus rules the third house, which is Libra, and the 10th house, which is Taurus. So third lord and the 10th lord sitting in Lagna. So what does that mean? First of all, Venus is sitting in Leo, and the ruler of the chart, ruler of the Lagna, is Sun. So Venus is enemy of Sun. So Venus is not a great friend of this Leo rising chart. Okay. Now, 10th lord means your work, your colleagues, and authorities, and third lord is your siblings, right? So your work colleagues and your siblings, they may come to you literally, like to meet you or help you, or they may be on your mind all the time. Okay, so or like in a negative sense, they may actually be taking away all of your energy, like you're too involved, you have too much to take care of when it comes to your work and with your siblings. So be careful not to overdo that. But excellent time to plan something big for your career. It's like Venus it wants to show off things, but rather than showing off, you can focus on creating something good for your career. And also wonderful time for creativity, for learning new skills. Third lord is sitting in the first house. That's a classic combination for learning new skills, especially for improving your personality, improving your life. Okay. But again, so the caution is do not show off anything related to your work, related to yourself, your personality, and related to your siblings. And do not have ego issues at your work or with your siblings. Okay, so that's Leo rising. Next one is Virgo rising. Now, Virgo rising, Leo, Venus is the, so what do we have? So second lord, Venus is the second lord, which is Libra. And Venus is also the ninth lord, which is Taurus. So the second lord and the ninth lord is sitting in the 12th house. So Venus is sitting in the 12th house in Leo here, right? So what does that mean? First of all, Venus in 12th house, excellent time to do some investments. Especially you can invest with your family, with family wealth. That's because second lord is involved. Or you can invest with your father, that's ninth lord. Or you can invest with your gurus, like maybe do some projects together with your guru, right? Secondly, a wonderful time to go on a pilgrimage. That's 12th house, to a foreign country, especially. Maybe with your father or with your family. That's ninth house and second house involved. Okay, so any kind of like foreign travel, because Venus also represents air travel. So any kind of foreign travel will be wonderful. Be very careful about expenses. So for Virgo rising, that's one area. So see, Venus sitting in the 12th house and it's in Leo. So it wants to show off, hey, I have lots of money. I'm a millionaire, right? So it may want to show off a lot of your money by spending that you don't need to. So careful about expenses. Now, what you can do is before the expenses happen, you can actually give some donations voluntarily. Okay, so that's how you can really honor Venus in the 12th house, especially donation to a foreign country, to foreign people, foreign places, for a foreign cause like that. Okay, so that's a wonderful remedy. And also you can chant Mahalakshmi mantra, because it's the ninth lord we're talking about, which is the Lakshmi Sthana. So Mahalakshmi Stotra, Mahalakshmi mantras will be wonderful for Virgo rising. Next, Libra rising. So we have an interesting combination of Lagna Lord and the 8th Lord sitting in the 11th house here, right? So 11th house is Leo. So Lagna Lord Taurus, I'm sorry, Libra. And 8th Lord is Taurus, again, Venus, right? So Venus is the Lagna Lord and the 8th Lord sitting in the 11th house. What does that mean? So that clearly shows gains from some esoteric subjects. Gains because it's sitting in the 11th house. Esoteric because it's the 8th house ruler. So whenever 8th house ruler has a connection with the 11th house, or it goes and sits in the 11th house, clearly big gains from esoteric subjects like maybe yoga, Jyotish, anything like that, any, energy healing, all of that, financial gains with those. So it doesn't mean that you'll have lots and lots of money within this 1 month period. That just means you may actually set up some things, your business activities, your future projects. So that will be financially very rewarding. Okay. Excellent time to spend time with your quality time with your friends, like having dinners and things. Do not overdo, of course, but a great time to expand your social circle. Do some art, creative work with your friends. Okay. And also be creative online, like social networks. You can be very, very creative. Maybe if you're doing webinars and things, you can bring your creativity out. Of course, very careful. Do not show off anything online, right? So do not show off your luxury, your money, your skills, or anything online or on social networks. That's the 11th house. There may be some issues with your desires. So what's happening is like the 11th house is also our desires. So Venus in Leo, it's like everything royal, everything big, luxury, right? So you may have excessive desires. So be very careful about that as well. Okay. Right. Next is Scorpio rising. For Scorpio, Venus is the 12th house lord and the 7th lord. So 7th lord and the 12th lord sitting in the 10th house. So Venus in Leo is sitting in the 10th house. So for Scorpio, what's happening? Venus is not a great friend of the Lagna Lord, the Mars, right? So that's one thing. But you may actually get foreign projects, like, work from foreign people, or you may actually travel abroad, but more likely the abroad will come to you. In other words, some people may visit you from foreign for your work, or you may get foreign projects, right? And then your spouse or your partner may also help you with work. That's the seventh lord sitting in the 10th house, classic combination that you may actually do your work together with your spouse, or they may help with your work. Very, very careful. Do not show off anything at your work. Just lay low. Do not have any ego issues at your work, right? Because it may also indicate some loss at work, because it's the 12th house ruler in what we're talking about. Okay, so maybe some expenses at work. Now, Scorpio rising, they are naturally secretive. Secretive as in you cannot really understand what's going on in their minds, and they don't reveal things very easily. So having Venus sitting in the 10th house in a regal royal sign of Leo, it's not very natural placement for them. So just be careful. Just do your normal things, but good opportunities to do some work with foreigners and with your spouse. Number 9 sign, Sagittarius rising. So for Sagittarius, we have 6th lord and the 11th lord sitting in the 9th house. We have 6th lord and the 11th lord sitting in the 9th house. This means so you may be actually going to your father or to your gurus to fulfill your desires, right? So the desires is 11th house, and so you may be going to your father or your gurus to fulfill your desires, because father and gurus is the 9th house. Okay. But excellent time, you may actually get a lot of financial gains working with your father or working with your gurus, working with your sangha. Okay, so a great time to focus on higher purpose, on devotion, on dharma. All of that is 9th house. So do big things, do very creative things when it comes to your higher wisdom, to gaining higher wisdom with respect to your gurus, with respect to your dharma. One excellent thing I can see is 6th lord going to the 9th house means you offer your shadripus at the feet of your gurus. Okay, so 6th house is our shadripus, 6 weaknesses: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsar. The lord of that house, which carries the 6 shadripus, is going to the 9th house, which is our guru. So essentially, you offer your shadripus, your weaknesses, at the feet of your guru, right, to take them away. Also, good time to start like health routines. That the 6th lord, you may actually do some health activities together with your father. So that's a good combination for that. So all in all, wonderful placement for higher wisdom, for spending time with the gurus, your father, doing things together, doing projects together, financial gains, getting rid of your weaknesses, all of that. But careful not to show off or not to have any egos when it comes to dealing with your father, with your gurus, with your wisdom, all of that. Next one, number 10 sign, Capricorn rising. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is a friendly planet for Venus. So that's a good thing. So we have 5th lord and the 10th lord sitting in the 8th house. So you have the 5th lord, which is Taurus, and 10th lord, which is Libra. So 10th sign is Libra, and both are ruled by Venus sitting in the 8th house of Leo. Okay. First of all, Venus is a yoga karaka, right? So it's ruling for Capricorn rising. Venus is yoga karaka for Aquarius also. That means Venus rules 1 Kendra house and 1 Trikona house. Kendras are 1, 4, 7, 10. One of these houses is ruled by Venus, and one of the Trikona houses, 1st house, 5th house, 9th house, one of those is ruled by Venus as well. See, the Kendra houses are Vishnu houses, and the Trikona houses are the Lakshmi sthanas. So if a planet rules one of the Kendra and one of the Trikona, it becomes a yoga karaka, excellent best friend of the lord of the chart, Saturn. So very, very beneficial, wonderful planet for Capricorn in general. Right now, it's sitting in the 8th house. 8th house Venus is a classic combination for a healer. So great time for you to focus on your healing abilities, or if you have never tried that, try learning some healing modalities, start studying some of these esoteric subjects. And now fifth lord sitting in the eighth house, so there may be change, transformation with respect to your children, or maybe you change your romantic partner, right? So you may find a new love, or there may be some changes in your work because 10th lord is sitting in the eighth house as well, right? So lots of changes could be happening. There may be some secrets that might be revealed when it comes to your children, or with your romantic partner relationships, or with respect to your work. Okay, some work related secrets may be revealed. But very careful, do not show off anything to do with your work, anything to do with your children, and be careful not to have any ego issues with your children or at work. So that's Capricorn rising. Next is Aquarius rising. Again, for Aquarius also, Venus is the yoga karaka. That means it's a very, very friendly planet, for very beneficial, excellent planet for the Lagna Lord, the Saturn, for this chart, for Aquarius rising people, because Venus rules one of the Kendra houses and one of the Trikona houses. Kendra houses are the Vishnu sthanas, which is 1, 4, 7, 10. So out of these, Venus rules the fourth house. And out of the Trikona houses, which is the 1, 5, and 9, first house, fifth house, and ninth house, out of these are the Lakshmi sthanas. So Venus rules the ninth house. So Venus is ruling the fourth house, which is the Kendra, and the ninth house, which is the Trikona. So it becomes a Yoga Karaka and sitting in the seventh house. Okay, so something to do with your father, with your mother, and with your spouse. So essentially bringing the whole family together, right? You could do creative projects with your spouse, with your father, with your mother. But very careful. One big caution is not to have any ego issues when it comes to your partnerships, both personal partnerships like your spouse, your relationship, or business partnerships also. Very careful, either from your side or from your partner's side. There might be some ego issues, or there may be some tendency to show off, when it comes to your spouse or with your father, your mother. So very careful about that. It's the Venus sitting in the fire sign of Leo in the seventh house. Not so great when it comes to relationships, when ego comes up, when ego issues surface. So be careful, but otherwise wonderful time, because Venus is the yoga karaka for Aquarius rising, and it's sitting in a very powerful sign, although Sun is going to be having eclipse. So be careful, but you can lay low, meaning, don't try to show off or don't have expenses with respect to your spouse, and focus on creativity with your spouse. Okay. Now, the last one, Pisces, number 12 rising sign. For Pisces, we have the third lord, which is Taurus, and the eighth lord, Libra, sitting in the sixth house. So Venus is sitting in the sixth house. It's the third lord and the eighth lord. Good combination for fighting your enemies with courage. Third lord is courage. Venus is sitting in the sixth house of enemies, and Venus in Leo. Leo sign is ruled by the sun, the king, right? So it's a good time to fight the enemies with a lot of courage. So it could be internal enemies or external. Your Shadripus, take care of your Shadripus, the 6 weaknesses. Okay. Now, careful when it comes to relationships, because Venus is the planet for relationships in general. Sitting in the sixth house, it doesn't do really well. It may have like ego issues, especially with respect to the relationship. So careful about that. There may be sudden changes with respect to your enemies, or the work that you do, or the service that you do, like people who work for you. So because eighth lord is sitting in the sixth house. Okay. Do not take any loans, because sixth house is loans, because the dispositor of the sixth of Venus is going to be eclipsed. Okay, so do not take any new loans. Do not show off your wealth or anything. Basically, this is not the time to show off anything. So be very, very careful. So in so this was Venus in Leo for all the 12 rising signs. Let me share my screen. All right. So as I mentioned in the beginning, do listen to the video on solar eclipse, because it's very much related. So now Venus is going to be in Leo, which is ruled by Sun, and Sun is going to be eclipsed on 14th of November. So until 14th of November, very careful with any things related to Venus that we discussed here. Focus on creativity. Venus in Leo is excellent combination for doing creative projects that may actually give you benefits in the long run. So again, thanks for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. And in the meantime, you can scan this QR code to get all the information about my consultations and courses and the blog and everything. All right. Thank you so much. Namaste.